So when I was living in Los Angeles and working as a celebrity trainer for more than 15 years, I would see a lot of people that were putting a whole lot of effort into doing a lot of workouts, exercise, trying to get in shape, and really not seeing the results that they were looking for. Especially when I had like actors coming to me who were being paid a lot to really look good, and they were going to be willing to put all of this effort into it. But it was really often where I had to help them work less in order to see better results, because they were really working against their body. And when we're over exercising, in a lot of cases, we're doing more harm than good. So I was able to help clients see better results by doing less. I was able to help clients like lose 235 pounds in a year just by learning to work with your body instead of against it. So in this video, I'm going to help you understand the most common signs that could be indicating that, hey, you may be doing a little bit of over exercising and working against your body instead of with it. Let's jump in.
TC Hale is not a doctor and does not claim to be a doctor or licensed in any type of medical field. Don't be an idiot and use anything heard on the show as medical advice. This information should be used for educational purposes only, and you should contact your doctor for any medical advice. Now get off me.
So when we're looking at different categories of things that we can keep an eye on with the body and trying to get an idea, am I doing the appropriate amount of exercise? Am I helping my body? Am I getting closer to my goals? Or am I really working against myself? One other thing that we can look at is really just the calendar and your frequency of workouts. And a lot of times this is one of the biggest mistakes that I see people making, especially when it comes to like building muscles and resistance training, lifting weights, that type of intense type of workout. The recovery benefits are really what you're looking for. When you're doing that workout, you're not actually getting the benefits during that workout. The benefits of building that muscle, improving that physique, all of that stuff happens in the recovery after that workout. So if you're working a muscle really hard one day, the benefits are going to come the next day as that muscle recovers, rebuilds, repairs, and renews. So when you're working out, you're actually tearing down that muscle. So if you go and you do that same muscle again the next day, you're actually removing the benefit of that workout. You're not giving the body a chance to rebuild and recover from that tear down process. So a really important thing when it comes to lifting weights is that doesn't mean a person can't lift weights 2 days in a row, but they really want to work different muscle groups. You don't want to work the same muscle group each day because you're never going to have that recovery time. So that's very important when we're looking at that aspect. If we're looking at cardio type exercise, I'm going to do some running, I'm going to bike, I'm going to do all these things, I want to burn fat, I'm going to do this kind of stuff, then we need to get away from this calories in, calories out viewpoint. This is a fictional viewpoint. This is not how the body works. This is how a petri dish works. That's why we get confused about science, is we're looking at petri dishes and what happens in a lab, and we're not looking at how an actual body functions. Most people, when they're doing intense cardio workouts, are not burning fat at all. They're burning fat later on when they're not doing that intense workout. During an intense workout, it's difficult for most people's body, not all. Some people are very fat adapted where they can burn fat in different types of workouts, but for most people, they're not going to be able to burn fat in an intense type of workout. They can burn fat in an easy workout, doing an easy walk, or some type of cardio that's easy for you. You know, that could really vary from person to person. But trying to go really intense and, oh, I'm going to do my morning cardio and I'll be back at the gym later on to do my afternoon cardio just before I do some running before I go to bed. These people are really working against themselves. They're over-exercising because they're trying to burn more calories than they consume. This is usually a problem and is not going to help with the fat burning process that they're really trying to achieve. I have a lot of clients just help their body get into a state where they can first access that stored fat and burn it for fuel, and then do the type of workout that can really magnify that process. I would have them, don't go and run on the treadmill for an hour and then go over and do your weights. You just burned up all the fuel that you needed to do that weight workout. But if you do maybe a quick warm-up, 5-10 minutes, and then you do your weights, and then when you're done with your weights and you've burned off all that glycogen or glucose that was available, now you can go over and walk on the treadmill for 20 or 30 minutes, and your body is set up to burn that stored fat for that type of exercise. So we like to work smart. We don't like to work hard. We're not in the work hard camp. We laugh and point at the work hard camp. We want to be in the work smart camp. So don't get in this mindset of trying to burn more calories than you eat, because one thing that really works against us when we're trying to exercise are stress hormones. The body is not viewing this as like, all right, let's do this exercise so I can really get shredded. It's viewing this as, oh man, they've burned up all the resources that we have. I have no fuel left, but they're still going crazy, running all over the place. Well, what I need to do is I'm going to raise these stress hormones, because this is a stress to this body. This situation going on, using all this fuel when there's really not fuel available, that's stressful. I'm going to raise these stress hormones. The stress hormones are going to tell my body to create more glucose so I can use that as fuel. And in some cases, I'm going to break down this muscle tissue and turn that into glucose to use during this workout situation. So a person is really trying to build muscle, lean out, lose fat, but they're working out in a way that's actually causing the body to break down muscle. So we don't want to put the body into this huge stress state all the time. Stressing the body some is very beneficial. Stressing it too much leads to these stress hormones going high, that has the ability to create these cascades of things going wrong that can lead to fat storage. It's going to lead to more problems, inability to detox correctly, inability for the body to use fuel, for the brain to work and have you be a human being. So there's a lot of things that can go wrong when we're trying to burn up all these calories, but we're really just putting the body into a fight or flight state that changes the way that it operates, and it does not maximize or optimize for fat burning in that state. It optimizes, where did my pen go? It optimizes for survival. So when we're trying to optimize for survival, that's not the way to optimize for losing fat. So here's where all those problems can really get magnified, and why we get confused is because some people have a lot of resources in the body and they're fine and they have excess to spend, and so they do all this workout and they see good results, and they tell everybody, oh, everybody should do this. But what about a person who has low resources for a wide variety of reasons, and they're trying to spend $1,000 in their workout when they really only have $8 to spare? So when we're looking at things like low minerals in the system, or an electrolyte deficiency issue, or we're looking at other low nutrient resources that the body needs to function correctly, then if we're spending all the resources we have on this exercise and this workout, then we don't have enough left over just to be a human being. So let's look at this study here on when much is too much. Compared to light exercise, heavy exercises report more mental health issues and stress. So in this study, they came to the conclusion that compared with light exercising, heavy exercising might be associated with more mental health issues. As such, it appears that the association between exercise frequency, intensity, and duration and psychological well-being might be related to an optimal point, but not to a maximum point. So they're saying that there really are health benefits and mental health benefits that can come from exercise to an optimal level. But when you're just trying to max out your amount of exercise, oh man, that workout made me feel a lot better. I don't feel so depressed. So if that one little workout made me feel better, what would happen if I did like 15 workouts in a day? I would feel like amazing. But that's just not how it works. It's not about burning up all this fuel or all these calories so that I can feel better. It's really about working with your body. And the last factor we want to think about is the ability for your body to rebuild and renew. So it was Dr. Emanuel Revici who helped us understand that the body has this natural circadian rhythm at the cellular level. So during the day, it should be in this catabolic state where it's really good at creating energy and kind of keeping us going all day, and good at breaking down tissue so that those things can be rebuilt and renewed. And then at night, we move into this anabolic state where the body is very good at sleeping and resting and rebuilding and repairing. So we want both of those states. The problem is some people can get really stuck in one of these states most of the time, and they're not moving back and forth from day to night like they should. These individuals that have low resources, it takes a lot of resources to make this switch in the body. So if they don't have enough resources available, they might get stuck. And there's other factors in our life and in our diet and in our choices that can cause a person to really get stuck in one of these states. And being stuck in one of these states can create a lot of problems in the body. But very specifically is this catabolic state. If someone's not moving into this anabolic rebuild and repair state, then they're just stuck in this state where the body's always breaking itself down. This is why you hear about all these bodybuilders using anabolic steroids. These things push the body way too far into an anabolic state and have the ability to create a wide variety of health issues that come from being too far in that anabolic state. But again, if a person is just stuck over here all the time, they really want to try and get into this state, at least at night. So one thing to think about when we're talking about exercise is that working out is a pro-catabolic activity. It's an activity that pushes the body more into that catabolic state. So I experienced this. I was way too stuck in this catabolic state. I got to the point where I couldn't even sleep because my body was just stuck in this daytime go, go, go state all the time. So I was a major insomniac. And there's other issues that can create insomnia, but this is a very common one. But I didn't have the ability to build any muscle because I was just stuck in this breakdown state all the time. Oh, I can't build muscle. What am I going to do? I'm going to try harder. I'm going to work out more. But I was just pushing my body more into this catabolic state. So we really want to work with our body when we're trying to get the most out of our workouts. So here's some signs that we can look at that maybe we're working out a little bit too often or a little bit too hard. And fatigue is a big one. And that doesn't mean you don't want to be fatigued after your workout. You want to do a hard workout in some cases where you really are fatigued. But if you're fatigued all the time, like except when you're working out, like I can only get feeling better when I'm doing the workout and I'm kind of tired all the rest of the time, there's some things going wrong, and it usually has to do with resources being low. And that's why we look at this symptom of digestive symptoms. If you're having any type of digestive symptoms at all, that's a sign that you're not having the ability to break your food down correctly and get all the nutrients and resources out of that food, which will bring the resources low. And then if you already have low resources, but you're spending them all on the treadmill 3 hours a day, then you don't have enough for your body to function correctly. So another thing we want to look at is mental health type symptoms, depression, anxiety, bipolar type issues. You know, this study is talking about that it would see a lot more mental health issues with people who were exercising very heavily and very intensely because they're burning up all of these minerals and nutrients that are needed for the body and the brain to function correctly. We need these minerals and nutrient resources for signals to be able to travel from the body to the brain and from the brain back to the body. And when they go low, that makes it very difficult for the brain and everything to work correctly, and that can result in some mental health issues. There can be other causes of mental health issues, but this is a common one. That's why one sign that's really great to look at is your blood pressure. And you want to look at it when you're resting. Not while you're working out, while you're resting. And if that systolic number, which is the top number, is below 112, that can be a sign that minerals or nutrients are going low in the body. So you'd want to take steps to understand how to improve that scenario. Another sign that could come up in that situation is maybe dizzy spells, kind of vertigo kind of issues, or like stood up and I feel a little bit dizzy. That's very common when those minerals are going too low. And what we want to understand is that how it varies from person to person is because when those minerals are low, that means that this body, when we're doing like cardio type exercise or a lot of intense workout, it's going to move into this stress hormone state a lot earlier when there aren't enough resources for the body to function the way that it wants to function. And as soon as you're moving into this really stress hormone, a lot of the times, then it's going to be harder to get the benefits that you're looking for, those fat burning benefits, all those benefits of working with the body and allowing it to optimize how it's going to function instead of it just kind of freaking out and being in a stress state all the time. If you're not sleeping well, that can be from being too far in this catabolic state like I was. But we also see insomnia issues from being too far in a fight or flight state. Maybe the body's raising stress hormones too much, but also from this electrolyte deficiency state where there's just not enough resources. You go to sleep and maybe blood sugar crashes and minerals are already low. Both of those things going low at the same time is a really big stress to the body. So it just seems like the body's kind of waking us up and saying, hey, we're running out of stuff. We still got things to do here while you're sleeping. Wake up and go do something about it. So people will have a hard time sleeping in that scenario. But any type of sleep disturbances, you want to look at how much you're working out and is that creating or magnifying that problem. If you're having slow progress with what you're trying to do, whether that be lose fat or build muscle, you want to look, well, maybe am I stuck in this catabolic state or am I stressing my body out too much? When the progress is not there, there's usually a reason. Pulse going below 65, and I'm talking about just your resting pulse. And you hear a lot about, oh man, these people who train all the time, their pulse goes so low because their body's working so efficiently that it doesn't need to pump as often. And so that's what happens when you're a really great athlete. But a lot of times these really great athletes are training so much that they're pushing their body into this catabolic state. And in a severe catabolic state, that pulse will go down. And in the severe anabolic state, the pulse will go a lot higher. We actually use those as markers. So these are not diagnostic things that we're looking at. These are just markers that give us indications of how the body is operating. So if you don't know how to do these things, if you're new to this channel, we'll put a link in the description below this video with these studies and such. We'll put a link to our totally free digestion course that kind of walks you through how to run simple self-tests at home using tools you can pick up like at a pharmacy or a health food store, just to get an idea. You know, am I leaning too far on this catabolic side? What is my electrolyte status in the body? Do I have too many or too little? As well as any digestive malfunctions that might be going on. So we'll kind of walk you through how to figure out, what do I really need to work on? Not what all the cool kids are doing. What do I need to do that's going to optimize how my body is functioning? Another thing we can look at in that regard are pH discrepancies. We like to look at the pH of the body, not for someone to alkalize. Oh, you got to alkalize, eat an alkalizing diet. That's a fictional world, just like this calories thing. So just stop living with the Easter Bunny and let's look at things that are real. But we can get some insights about pH by looking at our urine and saliva pH. And if those pHs are far apart from each other, like the urine is down here at 5.5 and the saliva is way up here at 7, that's a possible marker for being too far in that catabolic state as well. So we can look at things to figure out, well, what are the problems that I need to fix so that maybe I qualify to work out a little bit more. I have with a lot of my clients, I used to just say, look, we're going to back down your workouts a little bit so you're not working so hard against yourself, but then we can correct some of these problems. We can get more minerals in the system so that when you work out harder or work out more, you're not also magnifying depression symptoms that you're having. If we can lift these resources, then that makes us qualified to do more things. So it's not about just never working out hard. We see people that work out hard infrequently all the time and they do great, but it's because their body is set up to do that. If you're not set up to do that, then you're not going to get the same results that somebody else might be getting. So the adjustments in how much you're working out is really going to vary from person to person as well. So I used to have clients that they were doing cardio every single day, and maybe they were doing it twice a day even, and we often had to bring that down to maybe where they're doing cardio 5 days a week. Lifting weights, I never like to see anybody lift weights every single day, but I certainly don't want them working the same muscle group 2 days in a row, and I absolutely think that all humans should have at least 1 day a week totally off where they're not doing that kind of work at all. But again, a lot of people are going to do a lot better working out only 3 days a week with weights, that type of workout, and maybe they're only going to do cardio 3 or 4 days a week. It's really about understanding where you are to get an idea of what's going to be appropriate to you. I can't just hand out a menu that's going to work for everybody because we all have a unique bio-individuality. But if I've been talking about you in this video and you're working out like a madman, then see how it goes when you start reducing things a little bit. All the time I would see clients just do better when they would knock that back a little bit. So I hope that helps. And if you are having digestive symptoms now of any kind, you can jump over right now and check out our video on full digestive reset to get some insights of what steps might help there. I can't wait to hear about your results.